Hey guys, today I'm wearing a shirt that someone from Love Island wore, so obviously I'm going to talk about Pink Floyd. This is just a little video idea that I've been thinking about doing for a while, where I essentially look at one of these flowcharts. There's a lot of sort of flowcharts that people make about, how to get into various bands. So I'm just going to go through some of those for artists that I know every couple of weeks. And hopefully it'll give you a good idea of how to get into maybe an artist that you haven't heard of. We're starting with Pink Floyd, which I'm assuming everyone knows. So here's that one. There's always going to be a few for every artist. This I think is the best Floyd one. There's I think maybe one thing I disagree with, but none of them are perfect. So in terms of just starting, I want to cover this bit first, because this might be my least favourite bit of the chart. So Dark Side of the Moon is obviously the starting point. There's always going to be that one album that kind of is defining for an artist. In Floyd's case, it's definitely Dark Side of the Moon, it obviously is. Then, like I said, I'm going to start by going this way. The Wall, I know a lot of people like it. I don't know, man. it's fine, I'm sure. The live album, which actually is listed up here, kind of gets away from a lot of the I know The Wall's obviously late 70s, but to me it has a really 80s sort of vibe to it. It sounds kind of plasticky. It's got really bad 80s drum production as well, which is a personal pet peeve of mine. So that's that would be something. I'm not a huge fan, even less so of the final cut, which should just be with these as a Roger Waters solo album. I have listened to Amused to Death, and I did like that one. My little fragrance diffuser was just beeping, so ignore that. Amused to Death is okay. Radio Chaos is okay, but like it says here, even more war, more of Roger's politics. He just uses it as a soapbox. What about weird songs about being really fucking high? Do those again, Rog. I like those. I've honestly not listened to that one with Ron Geesin. If anyone has listened to that or any of the other ones that I'm going to have to confess I haven't heard, do let me know. Let me know if they're worth checking out. I'm going to sort of knock off some of the more, some of these bits around the outside before I really dive into the bits that I want to talk about. Again, Nick Mason, I've not really listened to any of his solo stuff. I've met him, but I've never listened to his own music. So, Nick, if you're watching this, which you aren't, I'm sorry. Again, let me know if any of these are good. Now, if we get into... Syd Barrett's interesting. A lot of these aren't really... they're good as curiosities, and his solo stuff is really good, but it's always Piper at the Gates of Dawn is his best thing. If we follow this upwards and sort of get into the bits that I like, then we're going to start with Wish You Were Here, which is great. It's got some of their best songs on it. Wish You Were Here is obviously a classic. Shine You Crazy Diamond's great. Have a Cigar is really fun. That's a bit of a laugh, that one. And Welcome to the Machine is very atypical for them, but yeah, that might be one of their best records. If I was then to follow it, I'd go, I want more like Shine You Crazy Diamond. Medal is basically an excuse for Echoes, the song, to exist. Echoes is this 23-minute long track that is really, really, really bloody good. It might be one of the best songs ever made. And the rest of Medal's kind of, One of These Days is still great. Saint-Tropez's interesting. The only other one I've mentioned is Seamus. Seamus is great because it's got a dog in it. And if you watch Live at Pompeii, they rename it Mademoiselle Knobs, and that's the name of the dog that they get to do at that time. I mean, it's like an old school bluesy track with a dog on it. So yeah, I suppose metal's not without its positives. A Saucer Full of Secrets is mad. It's probably the one of like early Floyd that I've listened to the least. And this is where I struggle with this chart a bit, because I think there's a more direct line from Meadow through to Ummagumma, and also Ummagumma not being in any way associated with these two. The second disc of Ummagumma is basically a 4-track live album where I think they almost entirely play tracks from their first 2 records. And Ummagumma's quite divisive. The first record's really odd. It's like Roger Waters goes completely mad on it. If you have listened to what's it called? Like several species of small furry animals gathered together and grooving in a cave with a Pict. It's interesting. Give it a listen. Whack it on. But yeah, Ummagumma's really for me about the live album, which I would say yes, that is a little bit more psychedelic, but I would actually go Meadow, then Ummagumma if you want something more psychedelic. In terms of the live album, maybe actually it is right to go more experimental for Atom Heart Mother, and then more experimental to go to Ummagumma for the original music for it. But that's not the reason why I put that album on personally. So there we are. Saucer Full of Secrets, obviously. Wait, what was that last song? Is because Syd Barrett's on that last one. That's the only record that has every member of Pink Floyd in it. Every member that there has ever been officially of the band. And then we get up to Piper at the Gates of Dawn, which is obviously... Piper at the Gates of Dawn is great. Again, arguably, I think some of the songs come out like Astronomy Domine, which I realise now I've never said out loud before, and I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but that's what we're going with. That appears in a live form on Ummagumma, and I think it's better on there. But Piper at the Gates of Dawn is great. It's got Interstellar Overdrive, which is this like 7-minute. They're a long version, but I think it's 7 minutes something on that record. Improvised instrumental psychedelic rock freak out. Fun story about that one. I once put it on a pub jukebox, and they turned the jukebox off. So I think it's good, but it's not pub rock. You know, no one wants to play pool to what is essentially 7 minutes of just, oh, don't this sound nice, boys? I want loads of drugs. So, yeah, it's not for everyone, but I like it. Again, you get to the Syd Barrett stuff, it leans much more into the sort of pastoral songwriting thing that he goes for. So do check those out if you like them. It's kind of folky, I guess. Then these are 2 film soundtracks coming up from Meadow. They're good. I wouldn't count them as sort of the main Floyd canon, apart from More. I really like More, obscured by clouds I'm maybe just less familiar with. So yeah, that's sort of this little tree here is my favourite bit of their discography. This is the first one I ever heard. The reason that I think that was the only one that I could find on CD in terms of what my dad had. That's the first studio album of theirs that I listened to. The first ever release of theirs that I heard was Pulse, and that was again because my dad had the CD, and my little brother used to call the start of Shine a New Crazy Diamond the spooky music. So we would listen to the spooky music every now and then, and that's probably what got me into it because it's very cool. Then yeah, like this bit instrumental ambient, which I totally understand. The Endless River was great, because it meant that there was a Pink Floyd album that came out while I liked them. Again, it's really different. It is just instrumental, like ambient Floyd, which, you know, if you like the spooky music, it'd probably be right up your alley. My hair looks fucking clapped today, doesn't it? I've just seen. Ooh. Well, there we go. I'm just going to be a little small bit in the corner of the screen anyway. Now we get into Dave Gilmour's solo stuff. I'm including a momentary lapse of reason because it basically is. The Final Cut and Momentary Lapse of Reason are both at points where the 2 front men kind of arguably just said, no, we're doing it this way because I've decided we are. So make of that what you will. I think that one's definitely better than that one. It's not their strongest record though. Metallic Spheres with the Orb and Dave Gilmour is great because the Orb are really good, and it's just him doing guitar solos over ambient music. So how could you not want that? Then I think this is his solo album that I'm most familiar with. Just mostly after listening to the Live in Gdansk album. The Live in Gdansk one's really good because it just has all of the really guitar solo heavy Pink Floyd tracks and some of his better solo stuff as well. So that's quite a good starting point as well, to be honest. I'd rank it right up there with Pulse or Live at Pompeii in terms of really good live Floyd albums. But yeah, it was essentially done touring to promote that one album. And that, I would say, is probably the best solo record by a member of Pink Floyd. That would be my pick for it anyway. Again, sorry Rick, right? I don't know any of these. I'd never even heard of that until when I was looking up this Flowchart. I did have obviously a look for some of the music, and I've never heard of it before at all. Sorry, that's the how to get into Pink Floyd Flowchart. Again, a bit of a different video for me. If you thought it worked, do let me know. If there's any corrections you'd like to make to this flowchart, also do let me know. Hey, see you in the next one.